Listen, coming up, we're going to talk heavy duty. And I'm not talking about what Fiberlize did to me. I'm talking about Mike Mentzer.
I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution.
I haven't seen the sun in a week and a half. Hey, look! It just came out! Hey, look at that!
I love it.
And we're back for another installment of After Hours with the Whack Pack. I'm Dave Palumbo, and yes, we're a little late, but we're here nonetheless. And we're going to be talking Mike Mentzer today. There's a new book out about him, and we're going to be discussing that. And all these guys on the panel all know Mike Mentzer. And you guys got your own stories. I'm sure you've encountered him in the past. John, did you know Mike well?
We worked together at MD. Later in his life, but in his bodybuilding career, I knew who he was. I never really, knew to talk to him. Everybody told me he was weird. So
he was definitely weird. Yeah.
He was weird.
So when I got to know
was
him,
Ray.
well, I think he got weirder as he got older, and
he did.
Some of his fantasies started becoming like very vivid to him, I think, and he would describe them in detail on the telephone to me. like this one time he said that there was this girl he was after who had some other love interest that he ended up having a sword fight with.
What?
With like a duel, like a sword fighting duel,
Wow. Who won? I guess he did. Yeah.
Apparently he didn't lose.
Did did she have a dick with a sword fight like that? Or
No, metal swords. You know what Greg's mind always is in that one location.
Come on.
No, sword, like
I know what you
fencing, yeah. So
you know why, John? Because too much it is.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about
was he a weed smoker?
No, cigarettes.
Oh,
cigarettes. And but he did like the alcohol though.
Oh
yeah, man.
Yeah. Although I never
used too many amphetamines.
I think that, yeah.
Oh, he was into the uppers?
Meth, any kind of amphetamine.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Who are you guys talking about?
Mike Mentzer.
A new cookie recipe, this new powder that I
lived with him for a year.
Wait, we got a special guest. Hold on, I'm letting him on. He does all my social media for Species. He's a good friend of mine. Umberto Ponce, welcome to the show.
Umberto.
Hey, Umberto.
What's going on?
How you doing?
If there was ever a whack packer who deserved to be on the Whack Pack panel, it's Umberto. He's loud. I find that if you're not loud, you can't be on the show, right?
That's why most of us come from Italian families. We're used to the,
Italian, Spanish. It's all the same, John. We're all loud. Yeah.
That's what all the Floridians tell me.
Especially at the dinner table. At the dinner table, right, John?
Like we got 30 people at dinner and you want a piece of bread and it's all the way at the other end of the fucking table. You better speak up or somebody's going to stab it.
That's right.
Umberto was with me. We went to remember when I was in California, we went to the Ferrari dealership. I was showing you all that.
Yeah.
He filmed all that stuff with me. So
he didn't own the Clam House in New York, did he?
No.
Umberto's, Little
He
Italy.
killed Crazy Joe Gallo.
He wouldn't be on the show if he owned that clam bar.
I've eaten there many times. It's
the only place in New York you can get scungili fra diavolo.
Really?
Oh,
Yes.
oh my god! They serve over that big stale piece of bread. Oh my god, it's incredible.
Dude, I'm a bleached guinea. I can't eat that shit.
I love that shit. Oh.
You guys know how to cook or no?
I do.
John's great.
George
I
bakes.
cook and bake.
Oh, kind of cook, yeah.
I think Larry uses a George Foreman grill. I think.
There you go.
Right?
Nah, I just cook in regular oven.
Do you?
Yeah.
I think those George Foreman grills are fucking amazing. If you got to cook like 20 chicken breasts, at a time, that thing's amazing.
George Foreman, I watched an interview with him, and they asked him about the Foreman grill. Obviously, George has passed.
I think I have one. Right.
He said, when he was like promoting all these other like companies, for a while. And he was like making all these companies money. Someone said, you should sell your own product. And he's like, well, what, so they went around looking for different products, and someone came to him with this grill. And he's like, I didn't think this grill would ever catch. So I said, you know what? I need 50 of them because I'm going to give them to all my friends and family to try. And if I like it, we'll sell them. So they gave him 50 grills. He gave out to everyone as gifts. He's like, I thought I made out like a bandit. He goes, I got all these free grills. He goes, and then I said, all right, I'll promote this thing if you think we can make any money from it. He goes, never did I think I would make any money. I just thought I got the free grills. I thought I made out like a bandit.
Who they offered it to first?
He's like, the first check he gets is like $5,000 for a month. He's like, wow, this is cool. The next check was like $12,000. He goes, the next month it was like $25,000. He goes, and I was like, holy mackerel, people actually want this thing. And he said, I think his biggest check was $5 million for 1 month.
Wow. Shit.
I just had a giant one right here, and I don't know my girlfriend.
Oh, yeah, you must have you probably have the original one that was ever made, Greg.
They got, hey, Dave, they offered to it first? Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan turned it down.
He turned it down?
Oh, what a
it wouldn't be the same, though. I don't know. It's George Foreman grill or the Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Can
you imagine? They sold billions of those.
It worked for George because he was like, all I eat is hamburgers, and and I make them on my grill, and you actually believed that he used the grill. That's why,
Yeah.
No, doesn't he have like 6 boys and they're all named George?
George, yeah,
right. George, yeah.
And he identifies each one by what meat they like grilled on the. One George's fish, one
John.
George's
I thought
chicken,
the girls
one
are George, like Georgette, Georgine, Georgianne.
I have no.
I just hate cleaning that thing.
George Foreman is a great example of how you can recreate yourself and go from being the villain to being the hero, because not many people can do that in life, and he successfully pulled that off. So
yeah, man,
he sure did.
He was great. I love that guy. When I was younger, that was fucking the Mike Tyson of nobody thought he was going to lose. When he fought Ali, we were like, Ali's dead, because he was a monster.
And he came out, and he would always be like, he would never be in shape. He was always like fat, but man, the punches that he threw from like his sock.
No, he was in shape. If you remember him in the Olympics, he was jacked. I mean, he was pretty. You know what the problem was, though, with the Ali thing? It was all against him. Foreman hurt himself before the fight, and they kind of like pushed it anyway. They made the ring bigger so Ali could move around more and wear him out. There's a lot of hidden factors about that.
Well, he did the rope-a-dope too.
But that's how they
punch himself out.
Because George, they made the ring bigger. You know what I'm saying? So that Ali could dance around and move around. Yeah. And they did it purposely. Did a lot of things.
And the rope, I think they made the ropes where you can bend down more too.
Yeah, right. They made him more.
But he still beat him. Foreman even admitted. He said, "Look, he suckered me into it." He goes, he completely sucked me in because he was talking to me the whole fight. He was, putting me down, and I thought I was going to beat this guy to death. He said, and he fooled me. He tired me out.
Yeah, but I remember that fight so well, bro. He was the Mike Tyson. He was undefeated. You saw him hit Joe Frazier, lift him off the ground with a shot. You know what I mean? He was just like monster. And then also when he lost, I was like, what? You know what I mean? Nobody believed that.
As Mike Tyson said, they asked Mike Tyson, if you were 20 and Ali was 20 and you fought each other, who would win? He said, it's not even close. He goes, he would destroy me. He's like, he's the kind of guy that takes you out to deep water and drowns you.
I think he says that, but I don't think so, because Ali's been rocked. You know what I mean?
Ali could take a punch too. That's the whole thing. Some of these guys.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think
Frazier fought like Tyson. Frazier was a bull. He came right in. So did
Lennox Lewis beat Mike Tyson. So a tall guy who's a good boxer.
You're talking about it, but Mike Tyson was the guy washed up at 26 years old. Washed up, he was done. That's all after. He was done. He was cooked.
Yeah, but he was done. He was done because he lost his mentor and he was lost.
Right. But
that's what happened.
But you're gonna tell me that the young Mike Tyson, the one who fought like Marvis Frazier and all those guys, he would have killed him. He would have killed. I think he would have killed Ali. I think
he would have.
Too smart. I
don't know, man. When you watch Tyson fight in his prime, it's like when the bell rings, it's like you're flipping a switch. Yeah. And he just turns into destroy mode. And he just runs up on you and starts beating the fuck out of you. And there's just
who
nothing
did
you
Ali
can do
fight
about
that was like Tyson? Joe Frazier.
Yeah.
Those were brutal fights. You don't think that how would Joe Frazier have done against
Joe Frazier beat Ali once. He broke his jaw.
No, how would Tyson have done against Joe Frazier? Because they
destroyed him.
Who would have destroyed who?
Tyson would have destroyed Frazier.
Maybe not.
He knocked out Spinks in one punch.
Well, Spinks wasn't. You could tell he didn't want to be there.
But you're talking about this. Two
guys who were not afraid of Tyson did very well against him. The guys that were afraid of him, they got destroyed.
Who was that big gangbanger that went up against him?
Mitch Blood Green.
Mitch Green.
Yeah. Tyson fucking toyed with him.
He wasn't a really good fighter.
No, those guys fought on the street too. And
getting suits at 3:30 in the morning. They get the
shit out of that guy.
Tyson said, the best interview. If you, I don't know if I can find it. He said, "Man, when I saw Mitch Green, I was scared."
No, but afterwards he said, "I could have knocked him out in the first round. I could have knocked him out in the second round. I could have knocked him out in the third round." But meaning he was going to beat the fuck out of him.
But there's two Mike Tysons. There's, obviously, Customato was his mentor totally. But then there was Jimmy Jacobs and Bill Caton. And Jimmy Jacobs is the one who kept him on the straight and narrow, was with Kevin Rooney and all those guys. It was after Jacobs died and Bill Caton couldn't handle him. Bill Caton was and that's when what's his name came in. Don King said, "Let me handle this shit." Started that. Look, we're black, we're brothers together. We got to do this together. And all Tyson made. Even said that was like the fucking mind fuck. Tyson wasn't training as much. They were stealing his money. They got his head all involved and all that other shit. But meanwhile, if you would have had the Mike Tyson that fought like Marvis Frazier, fought like Mike Spinks, or any of those fucking guys, they would have killed him. He would have killed him. He would have killed. I think he would have beat Ali. Ali couldn't take those body punches. It's like when they had that fake thing with Marciano. Tyson would have been breaking his arms. You know what I'm saying? Mitch Green was a thug, but Tyson wanted to toy, just like what he did with Tyrell Biggs.
Yeah, he toyed with him.
He toyed with Tyrell, but he kept saying Tyrell Biggs was making girl noise, like stop. And then Tyson's exact words. He was making girl noises in there.
Look, Tyson was good, but I think he was a bully, and I think a lot of people were afraid of him too. So. People, you can't fight someone you're afraid of. Holyfield was not afraid of Tyson, and that's why Holyfield did so well.
But that's after, though. That's the after.
After he went to prison.
That's not the same Mike Tyson.
The Robin Givens thing.
Mike Tyson in his prime was ferocious.
Absolutely.
Play any video of him, hit the bell. He would just run up on the opponent and just start beating the fuck out of him.
Right, but if he didn't beat you up in the first two rounds, you had a good chance against him. That was
the problem. He knocked right out.
No, not in his prime.
No, you're mistaken.
But you got to remember, who did he fight when he was younger? There was
everybody.
He fought everybody.
Nobody could beat him.
There was no one good in the heavyweight division.
What?
No one was there.
What?
Are you kidding?
Who did he beat? All right, give me one.
Oh my God!
Give me one person he beat that was good. Who? Tony Tubbs?
No, Trevor Burbick. You know what it is? Hold on. You're a Tyson hater. That's what it is. So you're going to make up this shit. He was good, but he wasn't that great. You're a Tyson hater, so you're going to like.
I love Tyson. Are you kidding me? I just don't. I think he was overrated. I think he had a lot of talent, like John said, and it wasn't nurtured properly. But I don't think if he would have fought some top guys like Joe Frazier or Ali or Foreman. Those guys were around.
No way.
Tyson was hypnotized, and when Cass died, that wasn't the same fighter.
Nope.
No. He was absolutely correct. He was unbeatable.
You're right.
Totally right.
He was hypnotized the whole time. When Cass died,
That mindset broke, and he wasn't the same. That's what most people don't understand.
Cuss died.
That guy was unbeatable. He was hypnotized. He was.
He's right, Umberto. He was. Gus had him hypnotized from the time he got him when he was like 12.
Yeah, but wait a minute,
world champion.
Gus was his mentor, but Jimmy Jacobs. Wait a minute, hold on. Jimmy Jacobs was the guy who really. Jimmy Jacobs and Kevin Rooney and all those guys. Jimmy Jacobs had him when he was. Gus died before he was a pro. You know, he wasn't winning all those shows. I'm talking about. Jimmy Jacobs was the death that really killed. Jimmy Jacobs was the guy that used to sit and watch movies with him and shit. Jimmy, you know, like
talk to him. He would talk to him too.
Yeah, well, they were all
talking to him nonstop.
Cuss did it with him, but also Jacobs. They were almost like partners. Cuss was his trainer, mentor, everything. Jacobs was his like his handler, his manager. It's after he died, Bill Caton couldn't control him, and that's when what's his name went in there. But he was winning. He was winning when Cuss died already. When every pro fight that you see him knocking dudes out, Cuss was already dead.
Right.
That was like a father figure to him that died.
Right.
It was after Jimmy Jacobs that he really went under the because remember, what's his name went in and said, get rid of all your handlers, get rid of all, you know, Don King went in and said, get rid of all your handlers, get rid of all your guys. And then you saw like, you know, fucking guys that just got out of jail, ghetto guys training. Yo, man, let's get the fuck up there and just start throwing punches at you. Instead of guys like he lost the sign. He went in there like an animal, just started throwing wild punches like this.
That's true. Yeah.
And he didn't do any more to bobbing and weaving. And that's when they were like,
no direction. It's like a pit bull with no master. That was after Cass.
Yeah.
When Cass will direct him. It was perfect.
Exactly.
Cass made him. And without Cass, it's just a wild dog, doesn't know what to do. He just goes and fights whatever. That's the only thing.
Yes, you're right. Cuss made it. But the problem is he handed him off. Jacobs was his handler. Jacobs kept him still on that leash. Cuss handed off the leash to Jacobs. Jacobs still had him under control. It was after Jacobs died and Bill Caton took over. And that's when, you know, the Brotherhood came in and started, don't listen to that white man. This all this other bullshit. Get rid of this train.
You got to mute George's microphone.
Yeah.
Is that what that is?
Any technical problem is coming from George.
Like sex line. Sounds like a sex line.
Yeah. Where is he? Oh, yeah. But you know, I just say it to you: all the fights that you see where he was unbelievable, a monster, that was still Jimmy Jacobs. Cuss was already gone.
Greg, you said that
when was your father
built the monster.
Dave,
built the
Dave,
monster.
we are witnessing right now the aging process of Greg Valentino because he has just said that same thing 4.5 times. Exactly the same.
Well, didn't your father evaluate Tyson?
No, my father was Teddy Atlas was Cus D'Amato and my dad were really good friends.
Right.
And Teddy Atlas had a legal problem, and Cus wanted to take him in and take responsibility for him, and to convince. And my father's job was to convince the judge that he should let Teddy Atlas, get,
no jail time,
drop the charges he was facing, and be released in Cus's care.
Right.
And the judge did it. He said he told Teddy Atlas, he goes, these two gentlemen have stuck up for you. If you let them down, you're going to prison for a long fucking time. And that's when Cus started, Teddy started working with Tyson.
Oh, okay, I got you.
And
Kevin Rooney, Teddy Atlas, and Mike Tyson were all they're in the same group. And Cus, they were under Cus. Teddy and George and Kevin were actually fighters. They weren't trainers yet. So they were all trainers. They were all fighters together in Cus's little, Catskill camp thing going on. That's how
Cus got him out of being in trouble.
Cus kept these guys out of trouble. And, Teddy Atlas had the bigger of the problems that required, the psychiatric, evaluation. And my dad took it over.
Yeah, but when Cus died,
I'll send you the link.
I'm just kidding.
That's me and my brother with Teddy this past Thanksgiving at his charity.
Is that when you stole the? Is that when you and your brother stole the show from them?
No, I didn't steal the show. That's Joe Zapata's show. That's Joe and George Zapata. Really
no, I know. I heard that the Smallies kidnapped Teddy Atlas away from.
No, Teddy. No, we don't say anything. We were told this is Teddy's event. Don't sit back. Relax.
That's the worst thing to tell you guys. Stay away. Yeah.
Because immediately they start thinking of ways of getting around it.
Yeah.
I wore my Air Force veteran hat, and I was standing about 20 feet away from Teddy, and he was talking to two guys. All of a sudden, he looks up, and he comes running over to me. Oh, thank you for your service. Thank you for your service.
You always you were in the service for 3 months.
Unbelievable.
You were in the service for 3 months. You were still pulling this veteran stuff.
Hey, Dave.
What?
You should hope that someone like me goes and serves for this country.
You didn't serve. They sent you home.
I stood up to a guy
who gave me the option to leave.
Wait.
The only person in the history of the army of the armed services to ever be offered the option to go home.
Because I have a conscience. My sergeant told me to do something.
Wait a minute. Are you implying that we have millions of soldiers out there with no conscience? Is that what you're saying? Our military is barren of conscience?
Hold on. If your guy tells you go kill those fucking people and you know it's wrong, you're gonna go kill them?
Yep.
If you're in the army, that's what you do. Yeah.
That's my order.
No.
Yep. You follow your last order first.
No, you have a conscience.
Nope. If you have a conscience, you're in the wrong place.
That's right. That's right.
I'm in the right place.
Government, you're in the military to be a killing machine. They say kill, you say how many times.
Hold on.
You're a dog.
First of all, not everyone is a killing machine that goes in the armed services. The armed services is like a city. Only 1% of the people actually fight.
No,
weren't you a chef?
Yeah.
Doctors, so you weren't killing anyone.
They wanted to poison in general.
Potatoes and meat.
If you were cooking, what was the problem with your conscience?
I'll tell you what was the problem. I had this tech sergeant from North Carolina, right? Because I'm from New York.
You can't follow directions. That's why.
No, I follow directions.
You have a conscience.
I follow my conscience, buddy, and that's what you want. People who follow in government in any place.
George, you're completely wrong. You're totally wrong.
Were you
want soldiers to follow orders.
Drugs in the army.
What you want. You want soldiers to follow orders. That's the whole essence of the military. You leave conscience at the door at boot camp. You don't bring that shit with you. You are there to perform a duty for the federal government. You do what they say. You become property of the federal government.
I'm not going to go hurt people that
you were cooking. You weren't hurting anyone.
I'm making a point, Dave.
And you're a good cook at that. We know that.
I follow my conscience. And that's what you want anywhere in life.
That's not what you want in the military.
People, what?
It's not what you want in the military. You want
you still do.
Your conscience in the military do not go together. They do not go together. You have to follow orders. That is the job.
Or people get killed.
But wait a minute. The real story is
Dave.
Joe Zapata had that, and George Zapata are real close with Teddy, and they asked George to come down. And when Teddy they saw George, they told George, come in.
We're talking about the military, Greg. We're not talking about
I'll tell you the story.
It wasn't about the military.
We've heard it, but you can tell it again. Go ahead.
You heard the story?
It wasn't about the military.
I've heard your military story, but yeah, tell it again.
They still going to poison somebody.
You know what? We ought to have a contest here among us to see who could come up with a new story.
I got to do
at least less than a year old.
What's up, Xavier Wills from Australia?
I'll tell you the story what happened with Teddy Atlas. Can I tell that one?
All right. I'll let you off the hook with the military.
What happened to me and my brother? So me and my brother were told this is Teddy's event. Don't step on his shoes. And of course we wouldn't anyway. So me and my brother, as soon as we got there, we both separated. And we let everyone go up to him and this and that. Right. And then all of a sudden I'm standing about 20 feet away. Teddy's talking to two guys. In mid-sentence, he's talking to both. He looks up, sees me, and he runs over to me, shakes my hand, puts his arm around me, and says, "Hey, thank you, love that you served," blah, 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 and then starts introducing me to everybody. It was unbelievable. He was bringing me around and introducing me to everybody.
Yeah, but you got in there
yourself as a veteran. That's right.
Potter got you guys there.
Sounds like stolen valor to me.
Yeah.
What's
Right.
stolen valor? Hey, John.
Joe's the Potter.
I volunteered and went in.
I did too.
No matter where we would have went, I would have went.
You would have gone. You would have gone. The word is that you would have gone past participle.
Right.
All right. Where's this from, George? This picture that you sent me.
Oh, that's that's
in the 70s.
1978. Trip with all my friends, a surf trip to Puerto Rico.
Is that John Ripper next to you?
No. See this guy with the beer and the cigarette?
Yeah.
His name. He's from Montauk. His name is Apollo. He lived. So we lived at Mr. Gonzalez's house, right, which was on the top.
Look at the Ed Pariso next to you on the left.
On the left. So
it's like a young Ed Pariso.
So this guy Apollo he used to drink. He'd surf all day and then he'd drink all night long, and he used to cook toast. And he would fucking fight with his toaster. We used to stand up at the top of the stairs and laugh at this crowd. Goddamn fucking toaster don't work, son of a bitch. He'd fucking break it, throw it out. We'd be up there laughing hysterical.
Was this before or after you went into the armed services?
This is after I got out. Then I grew my hair long. And then I was going to Nassau Community College for physical therapy.
Yeah. What happened with that?
Quit. They kicked me out.
You had John. I think he had a little bit of a problem with authority back then. He couldn't handle the military. Couldn't handle college. No, funny. Oh, I'm going to give you a compliment. The funny thing is that you're brilliant, and you just can't take instruction from anyone. That's your biggest drawback. You're too smart for your own good.
I take instructions, Dave. I hear what you
Name one time.
What?
Name one time.
He took instruction from me when I helped him for a show. He did
okay, and that was how many years ago?
Yeah.
I take instructions when it comes to
20 years ago.
Bike train. Anybody train anything new?
He has to be interested in it, or he doesn't.
Bike training,
right.
Cooking. Like when you gave me a recipe, John. You gave me the recipe to make pistachio, right?
I hope you used it.
I used it, yeah. So I follow that. If I feel as though someone's telling me something wrong or against my conscience or choosing profits over people, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to stand up,
unless you're in the military.
What?
Unless you're in the military.
See, for people like you, George, that are that intelligent, who don't like to take, they basically don't like to listen to what other people say. You have to have your own business. The problem with you is that you're not good at running your business, but you're a creative genius. So you need like a partner who will run the business for you, and you just do the creative aspect of it. And John and I have been telling you this for 15 years now, maybe 20 years. So.
Well, don't.
The thing is, George, you got to look at it this way. If you could go to work, tomorrow morning in your own place, your own facility, and all you had to do was make cookies, and then there was someone else there that did everything else. They made sure the packaging was there. They made sure the labels were printed. They made sure the social media pages are being fed. They made sure there's free samples going out. They make sure your marketing is intact. They make sure your web page is working. Your e-commerce is good. They work all of that shit for you. All you got to do is create new cookie flavors and make cookies, pretzels, bagels, pancakes, waffles, whatever you want to do. That's what you needed. That would make you so fulfilled and happy if you could scale your business to making all these great items that you believe in, that you think are good, that you think are going to help people, and market the shit out of them. But you just don't know how to do the marketing part. Right. So you need a marketing partner to take your genius ideas. That fucking cookie I'm still tasting it with the Three Musketeers in it. That I'm telling you, if that one cookie didn't sell 10 million in the first year, I would be shocked. That is the most amazing cookie flip, right? So Just one. Then he's got all these other ones with the white chocolate and peanut, all of that stuff. All you have to do is go make that. Your other guy does everything else. You would be a billionaire in 5 years.
You know who would be a good? He'd be good partnering with Umberto, because Umberto is very good at the business aspect, and keeping people focused. But I think they would get into I think they would fight with each other too much. Umberto wouldn't take any shit from George, and George wouldn't take any shit from him, and they would be.
Oh, that's not true, Dave. That's not true.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
You would.
I think you guys would be. I think you guys would make a ton of money.
George, you would fight with Donald Trump if he was your partner.
I don't fight with you guys.
All right, let's get back to Mike Mentzer. Let's get back to Mike Mentzer for a minute, because Mike Mentzer. I got contacted by someone. I got an email saying that there's a new book coming out about Mike Mentzer. It's written by John Little. It seems like you guys know who he is. I don't know who John Little is. And he's like it's like the ultimate historian on Mike Mentzer. It's called Mike Mentzer, American Odysseus. It's coming out May 20th, 2025. They're sending me an advanced copy of the book to review. I might get John on our show here to talk to us about what it took to write this book. But it seems interesting because, obviously the heavy duty system was something that he was very well known for. But I think his rivalry with Arnold Schwarzenegger, where they were ready to he was ready to basically beat the shit out of Arnold at the '80 Olympia. That everyone loves that story, and this is going to be like a behind the scenes, version of what happened, according to Mentzer, at least. What do you think? You think it'll be a good book?
If John Little knew it, Mentzer very well.
I think it would make a good movie. I mean, I haven't read the book yet, but I think you've never seen really a biography about Arnold that really wasn't told by Arnold. You know what I mean? Wouldn't you? I'd like to see it like a movie about like Mentzer, but involving Arnold. You know what I mean? Like,
that would fucking be like sell one ticket.
There was. That's not true. That's not true.
No,
in World Gym, Joe Gold had up on the mirror a little sign,
right?
Okay, that said, Mike is coming. That was for Arnold. Okay,
right.
That's how worried Joe Gold was about, Mentzer. The thing you guys got to understand about Mentzer is that as unique of his training system was as unique as he was.
100%.
He was a weird dude. He was very different. I mean, he woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning and read philosophy for 2 hours. He could quote Ayn Rand for almost anything. And he was very different. He was very strange. And if anybody followed his training system, you'd say, "Wow, that's fucking strange." Because if it was such an output of energy and force and drive that nobody did it. I mean, hardly the only other person that made that. No, other people did do it, but I mean, Dorian freaking
Casey Viator did it.
Casey Viator. There was a few.
Really, Arthur Jones.
Arthur
Jones is the one
right. But Mentzer took it to another level.
People don't realize that the reason Arnold came back in 1980 was because he felt threatened by Mentzer, because everybody at the time was going on the Mentzer camp. Samir Bannout followed Mike Mentzer. Tom Platz followed Mike Mentzer. All the guys started to switch from the Arnold training high volume to the Mentzer high intensity. A lot of them. Edward Kowak came out. He came out to compete, and Mentzer had me driving him around for a week, and Mentzer was putting him through training. There's videos of Mentzer training Edward Kowak. So a lot of people were going to the Mentzer camp, and that's what Arnold took that as a threat. He thought that Mentzer was going to hurt his legacy, so he came back and rigged the '80 Olympia just so he could put Mentzer in his place. And that's what they
nobody
did.
liked Arnold anymore at that point.
Yeah, but that's
not until he came and scammed the '80 Olympia. That's when they all turned on him.
Up to that point, they were starting to not like him. He was starting to get really full of himself, and people were starting to call him a dick. And then when that '80 Olympia came, that was it. It was
he came back because he was already in shape for Conan. That's exactly why he came back.
Yeah,
he wasn't going to start.
No, he was not ready for the show. He didn't compete. He only trained for a few weeks.
He did not train ice cold, say, you know what, fuck this, I'm going for the Olympia. I'm going to try to beat Mike Mentzer because it's all right. He was already in wicked shape, and he figured, fuck it, let me finish it off, and I'll jump in the Olympia. That's exactly why he went there. I mean, I talked to Mentzer.
He was not.
Times.
You're saying Arnold was
if you brought Arnold's name up to Mentzer, he got fucking mad.
I lived with him for a year.
Wait, Arnold was in wicked shape?
Wait, who do you lived with Mentzer?
Yeah, for a year.
Wow.
When I was
you should know him better than anyone.
Yeah, really.
Say that again?
You should know him better than anyone.
Yeah, I lived with him. Of course I know him.
That was Arnold and Nady.
He hated Arnold with a passion.
Yep.
You couldn't even mention Arnold's name. Matter of fact, he
just
bitched about him all the time. And then he'd tell me I don't give a shit about Arnold. Then I'd say, well, if somebody you don't give a shit about, you sure talk about him a lot.
What was he like? I mean, you lived with the guy. Was he weird? Was he weird? I mean,
he was
so
weird.
When I met him, he wasn't even training. The steroid dealer guy that I was working with introduced me to him.
Oh.
And when I met him, I was shocked because he was small.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he had a little hot belly. He was smoking a cigarette, and he had like 13-inch arms.
Wow.
And but I couldn't believe because I saw the Mike Mentzer, from the 80 Olympia.
Right.
But then I convinced him to train with me, and so he did start. But in order for me to get him to train with me, I had to take him to the meth dealer every day.
Oh shit! No way. Oh my
God.
So
our routine was we leave the apartment in West Hollywood. We drive all the way to the San Fernando Valley, like 25 miles away.
Right.
Go to before we left the apartment, we take an Obitrol, which was like this amphetamine that had like 5. It's sort of like what is the new one that everybody's taking? Adderall.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that.
Wow.
And then we drive all the way across to the meth dealer, and he'd get the meth. And I never took the meth because I didn't like it.
Did he smoke it or snort it?
I think he just snorted it. I don't remember smoking it. But then we drive all the way back to Nautilus.
You had to go to the meth dealer every day?
Yeah, why didn't you just pick up a couple days?
Not every day, but on training days.
Yeah, why would you get like a month's supply? So you just had it,
Because he'd probably blow through it all in one day.
Yeah. I don't know if it was money or what. That was the thing.
Oh.
So anyways, then we'd go to the Nautilus, and we'd go to there's an espresso shop next to the Nautilus Plus.
We'd take
a double espresso, and these 5 milligram dexedrine spatules were these fast-acting amphetamines.
Wow, he was taking that much amphetamine?
And then I only took the dexedrines. I didn't take the rest of the shit because it was too much.
Right.
And then we'd be like jacked out of our mind, and we'd go into the Nautilus, and we did train like crazy.
Right.
The high intensity, just like he said, one set of failure, negatives, 4 reps, all of that.
What did you do after the workout when the amphetamines were still fucking cranking for another few hours?
Well, the good thing about the dexedrines, they only last for a couple hours, and then it's out of you.
Yeah, but what about the stuff you took in the morning and
well, he was high all the time.
What about the meth?
Yeah,
it didn't matter for him. I couldn't do it.
So wait, did he snort meth and work out on meth?
Yeah.
That's the whole routine, John. Before
wait a minute. I want to try to program my brain into this. At the same time, he's rocking Dexies, meth, and the first one. What was the first one?
Espresso and then Adderall, John, in the morning.
The Adderall one, and this is all brewing at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. What the fuck, man?
And then afterwards, we'd go to the Good Earth. We'd go to that Good Earth restaurant and we'd eat. Yeah. And he would take these little rolls, and there was this sweet butter that came in the little balls.
Yeah.
And he'd put one ball of sweet butter on the roll, and he'd just eat it in like the whole thing. He liked fats. He would take butter and put it in the freezer and make it into ice cream and just eat it with a spoon.
Wow. He sounds like Mahalik. Isn't that what Mahalik made you do, George?
Yeah, Mahalik made me eat a dozen butter rolls, and then a half hour later, another 6 butter rolls, and then train.
Wow.
But I'll tell you one thing, like within 4 months of us starting to train, he went from skinny little fat to just massive.
Really? Was he on any juice?
Yeah, we took NPP 300 milligrams 3 times a week.
That's it.
That's it. That's everything we took. That's all.
Wow.
Believe me, you take 300 milligrams of NPP. We took it the night before. The next morning, you wake up and you're just blown up, just full of glycogen.
Yeah. No testosterone.
No, that was just NPP 300 milligrams 3 times.
What year was that, Larry?
That I was 19, getting ready for the Teen America. So
wow,
66, 85.
Wow, that's crazy.
So NPP 3 times a week or 300 milligrams once a week?
300 milligrams at one time, 3 cc's, 100 milligrams each, 3 times a week. So 900 milligrams.
Oh, so that's that was a lot of drug. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, that's a bunch.
Yeah, but it worked.
Did it affect your sex drive negatively at all?
I don't remember it doing that. No, I don't remember it doing that. But I was 19, and all I was worried about was bodybuilding, so I didn't really care about anything else.
So did he?
Just took ephedrine.
Did he go to the show with you? Was it like you're helping you out? I mean,
no, we had a falling out like about maybe a month before the show.
What happened?
He disappeared for a few days.
Yeah.
And his girlfriend, Julie McNew, this bodybuilder chick, was calling me like, "Where is he?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And then he calls me one day and he says, "Hey, come pick me up." And I'm like, "Okay." So he gives me this address in Beverly Hills, and I drive over there. There's this big mansion. And I go up in there, and there's this little Richard Simmons looking guy. Maybe it was Richard Simmons. I don't know. He had the gold records on the wall and all this shit. And he's sitting behind this long table with this little guy with the afro head. And the guy's like rubbing Mike's arm.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, I don't know what's going on here, but I'm like, "Mike, you ready to go?"
Yeah.
And the Richard Simmons guy goes, "Come here, you fuck." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, let me feel your muscles. And I'm like, "What?" So the guy comes at me. He just like runs across. He comes at me and he starts grabbing my chest like tits. And I fucking backpedaled, and there was a stairwell behind me, and I jumped backwards off the stairwell all the way down like a whole flight of stairs.
Oh shit.
And because the guy had freaked me out. And then I looked up and I'm like, "Hey, Mike, are you coming?" And he goes,
"Not yet."
No, he didn't say anything. And I'm like, fuck, so I didn't know what to do. So I just left. I get in the car. I call my father and I told him what happened. He goes, "Get the fuck out of here. You don't need this shit."
After he saw you get your chest squeezed, he started coming.
That's what I meant. Not yet.
Do you think Mike was doing like some gay for pay stuff for for drugs?
100%.
They all did it.
True.
They all
They
did
all
it.
did it.
They all did it.
But it was weird that he called Larry to come pick him up. You know what I mean? Like
I think he wanted to get me involved in the thing with the guy. And I was like, no, hell no.
Yeah, the guy probably said, "You got any friends?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike
So
was,
anyways,
"Yeah, I'll call Larry."
then he
Mentzers
came
was
back
a
and he's like,
fucking
"You got to
weirdo.
move out." And I'm like, "Okay."
He kicked you out?
Yeah.
Holy mackerel.
And I was paying all the bills. I was paying like the rent and everything.
Wow.
Joke's on him then.
Yeah.
That's
But
the
When you
Rich-
do those kind of drugs, especially meth, your brain stops working normally. You start getting like kooky, And
but
that might be why he was so weird. Maybe it was the drugs were messing up his
Dude,
brain.
he sat in the gym that I own and watched me do like a fucking 100 sets for biceps, and he was freaking out.
He went to jail for like he was like running down the freeway naked.
Oh, he was? When was this? What year?
It was right after that. And
Wow.
Wait, who did that?
he was on
Mentzer.
the beach and he freaked out and he said they're gonna strafe the beach, and he started screaming and he started running through Venice and he took his clothes off and he's like running down the freeway naked.
Wow.
And then the cops got him. And my friend Joya Pennington, this big guy from Worlds, he was a sheriff at LA County Jail. And he was like taking care of Mike in there because I asked him to do it. And he was like bringing him extra food and whatnot.
Right.
And while Mike was in the jail, like Arnold Schwarzenegger came and like visited him, but not like in a visiting room, went like to the jail cell to just look at him.
Oh, really? That's weird. They let him in there?
Yeah, he was like, I think at the time he was like a big shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Maybe
Right.
did Arnold bail him out? Maybe.
No. He looked at him like he like wanted to like gloat over him. being in jail.
Gloating.
Yeah, that sounds like Arnold.
But
it's funny. Ray was way worse though. Ray was pretty fucking lunatic.
Ray was fucking nuts.
Ray was crazy.
I met Ray before I met Mike, just once.
I knew Ray very well.
The roid dealer guy, he brought me to Ray.
Right.
Ray was, when I first met Ray Mentzer, he was huge. He was just massive. He must have been like close to 300 pounds.
Wow.
And we met at a gym, and I was just a kid, you know. And he says to me, he says, "You think you know something about weight training? You don't know shit." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like, this is the first thing. I had never even spoken to the guy before. So then we're in there training, and he shows his arm. And he goes, "You know what this is? You know what this is?" I'm like, "What is it?" He goes, "It's a muscle fiber." Like, this guy is out of his fucking mind.
Dude, Ray was nuts. Rick Valente.
He was crazy. Yeah, and mean too. Like, he was just like a mean. And Mike
you got to wonder how these.
At the time.
Was he doing drugs too?
Oh,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably.
You
got to understand that these two guys had no job. Okay,
right.
They had no visible means of regular support. So, like almost everybody else back then in those days. So the odd thing was that Ray and Mike were like a team, but like, what did they do? You know, I mean, they would follow people around with a clipboard and, you know, to personal training. And it just was like
they finagled.
Well, when I met Mike,
he was writing articles. Mike was writing articles.
That was later in his life.
That was later. That was later.
Yeah.
I'm talking about when Ray and Mike were running the streets in Venice and Santa Monica. Like,
when I met Mike, all he was doing was writing articles for Weeder, and that's it. And so, like, the day I moved in, he's like, "Oh, by the way, you got to pay the rent, and you got to buy the groceries, and you got to do this and that." Right. And I'm like, I actually worked at the times. I was working bouncing, and I was like selling steroids, so I had money.
Right.
So I was paying for everything for both of us. And Lacey Rich was the apartment manager. He lived directly downstairs from us.
That name always keeps
No way, he was the apartment manager?
Yeah. And so he let us live like, I think we paid like $400 a month for rent. It was cheap rent.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did he have like little
Lacey Rich over and over?
Did he have like little peepholes cut into the wall and shit? I mean,
well, I would go to take the trash out, and when I'd go out, like, I lived upstairs and he lived downstairs, like right below us. And when I'd go to take the trash out, he'd be like peeking around the stairway, looking at me. I'm like, and I'd throw trash at him. I'd be like, "Get out of here, you faggot!" And Mike got mad at me because he said I was like mean to Lacey, and I'm like,
because that was his sugar.
Lacey was probably giving him money. That's why.
That was his sugar daddy. That's why.
Yeah. Lacey Rich was periodically. Lacey Rich would fax everybody in the industry naked photos of Arnold.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Who told you?
And it was like periodically, and it was just a mass batch fax. I mean, like 30 people would get.
Like today, it would be a mass email.
Right? All the writers, all the editors, all the magazines, the art directors, they would all get these faxes. You know what a fax photo looks like? Black and white. It looks like all fugazi. And that's what, and it would be Arnold naked and in various, you know.
Well, he had pro bodybuilders coming in and out of his apartment like all day long.
Lacey did,
yeah. Like, I could name names, but I'm not going to. Like famous pro bodybuilders.
Say, name them.
Well, you know, the whole thing was run by the gays at that time. But Joe was flaming homo. I used to go to the photo shoots because Mike used to have me drive people when they come into town.
Yeah.
Like, I drove Cowhack around, Barry DeMay, a bunch of other ones.
Oh, did you? Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I would drive them, and I would drive them to the photo shoot because they didn't have a car.
Right.
And Joe would say to me, "Why are you always here? Why are you always here?" I'm like, "I don't know. I drive." He'd be like, "Let me put on the oil. Let me put on the oil." And he's like rubbing these guys. I was
Larry's like that, like Waldo. He's like the guy in the backdrop that he's been everywhere. He's like Forrest Gump almost. And he's been privy to everything that's gone on in the history of bodybuilding, but no one knew he was really there, you know. It's great. I love it. I love these stories.
Yeah,
so
Ray was worse.
So when Mentzer died, is it true that Ray killed himself? That's what I heard.
I don't know. He died, like, both of them, supposedly it was weird. They both had heart attacks, and Mike died, and then Mentzer died like a day and a half after. So it was kind of strange.
How old were they? Were they in the 40s?
I heard that Mike was supporting Ray.
No, stop it.
It was genetic. Their parents had the same problem too.
He didn't kill himself. He basically.
Oh, he did?
It's just like, you remember Lou Costello? He had a kid who drowned in a swimming pool, and they said he was so distraught, so upset that he wound up dying not long after that. What happens is Ray was very. First of all, both of those guys had to have a bad heart. I mean, Mike was always late. Mike smoked cigarettes in my fucking.
That's all those stimulants, Greg.
Yeah, and he drank though. But what you're forgetting is he drank like a fish. He used to drink a lot of vodka, a lot. I'm talking about he had bottles in the trunk of a car. And he had, he would sit in my gym. He'd watch me fucking train. He would like put me down and say all this fucked up shit. I got along with him, but he was I'm fucking nuts, so he's nuts. But Ray was way worse. And I think that Ray was so upset. He probably, drank, popped a lot of pills, and just basically had a heart attack, But he didn't die. He didn't kill himself.
Okay.
No way. I believe he died just like Lou Costello. I think
49 he was.
The grief that he felt.
It's sad because these guys were so talented, both of them, and you know what? And they just at the end they just became dysfunctional.
You know what though? Like Mike, after the 80 Olympia, he just like lost his shit.
Casey Viator too.
Yeah.
Yes.
But he was super. I mean, if you listen to him talk about his training, he's super smart about training.
Dude, in 1981, I saw Casey Viator train doing squats with one plate on each side, and it would take him 5 minutes to go. 5-6 seconds to go down, 6 seconds to go. It was so slow. I was like, holy fuck. Like I can't, that's too slow for me. You know what I mean? And the same thing, I saw Greg DeFerro, Dave, with 10s on the incline bench with 10s. And he would go up real slow like this, literally 20 seconds up.
Right.
And then 20 seconds. I was like, dude, I don't have patience. I'm the kind of guy like if I'm gonna paint I had to paint the wall in the gym. I just drew the paint like this on the wall, and then I just started rolling it really fast because I can't sit there. Oh, let me cut in and all that shit.
Yeah.
I don't have patience, to watch those guys. I mean, Casey Viator too, who was so fucking big at one time, and to see him standing there with that bar and just one plate and going like down real slow. And then come back up and do another.
I interviewed Casey Viator. He also from the '81 Olympia. He never got over that either. It's like these. Why grown men would allow one incident in their life to completely ruin the rest of their life.
They put their whole life into that, and it was such a robbery. It was so obviously
right, but it made them very popular too.
I hate to tell you,
but making good money with the training. Everyone loved this guy.
Mentzer wouldn't have won. If you took Arnold out of that, Mentzer wouldn't have won. I think Zane might have won again.
Nah.
Zane was in great shape that fucking
Mentzer took fifth.
Yeah, but look at the photos. They took fifth up because it was political.
I don't think he
look at the photos from the 80 Olympia. You put them side by side. There's lots of photos of him and Arnold standing right next to each other. There's no comparison.
But he wasn't hard. He wasn't separate. Zane was.
Who was not hard? Mentzer, was it?
Mentzer.
Oh, bullshit. Yeah. Look at the photos from the 80 Olympia. He was shredded.
He didn't have any separation. He didn't look any.
Yeah, whatever.
Greg, that's not true.
Look at the pictures. He was in the best shape of his life.
I just don't. I thought that Zane.
He won the heavyweight at the Olympia in '79, and Zane won the overall. And Mentzer was way bigger, and then he came better in 1980, and then they just fucked him.
I don't know. I don't think he was also narrow.
No, he was wide as shit. No, you're wrong. He was really wide.
Arnold had that big structure, so even you look at black and white pictures, you can't really even tell. I'm sure if you were at the show, everyone I know who was there said that Arnold.
There's color photos that you can see.
Yeah,
you guys got to remember, Mentzer's the only bodybuilder to ever score perfect score at the Universe.
Yeah,
perfect 300. So you can't say he's not wide, he's not this, he's not that. He was fucking perfect.
When I was training with him.
He's
like after I said he got really big in a few months, Victor Richards came into the gym and when we were training, and he was sitting next to us. I mean, Mike was sitting on a bench, and Victor came in. He was talking to Mike, and Victor, like he was like the biggest thing you ever saw.
Yes, I was.
And when they were sitting there, I was like, "Wow, Mike is like he's not as big as Victor, like as far as like height and weight, obviously, because Victor's like 6 foot and 300 pounds. But just like width and the size of his arms and shoulders, he was right there with Victor. That's how big he was at like 5'7". He was
Mentzer?
Yeah.
Oh man,
yeah.
I was there in '81. He didn't look like that. I mean, there's pictures of me there in '81.
He was big. He was really big.
Victor Richards is a much bigger man, though. He's
I'm saying Victor was bigger overall in like height, and he weighed much more. But I'm saying just like muscle size and width and the arm size, he was right close to Victor. I was shocked.
Listen, Mentzer was thick. I'm not going to take anything away from the guy. I actually liked Mike Mentzer. You know what I mean? Physique-wise.
Greg, perfect score at the universe. Only bodybuilder
I get
in
that,
history.
but that's the universe. You're talking about Mr. Olympia.
That's the Arnold. Arnold isn't won the universe. Ferrigno won the universe.
Listen,
Everybody won the universe.
The next year, Dickerson wins. I didn't think that. I still thought Tom Platz had fucking could have won. Beat the what's his name?
Only because his legs were so huge.
No, Franco won the following year.
Franco. Yeah, I mean
that was another fiasco.
He gave it to him. He gave it to Franco.
That was terrible. That was terrible. Franco had one giant bitch to hit and fucking.
He had one leg.
Yeah, but it didn't look anything like. It didn't look like he could. Tom Platz had that one. I'm sorry.
I agree with that.
Tom Platz had that one. Dickerson won the next year.
You know what the real truth of the matter is here is that, first of all, everyone gets screwed in bodybuilding. The only guy who's happy is the guy who wins, right? So, right. I mean, everyone has had situations where they didn't get what they felt they deserved, or maybe the fans didn't think. You don't let it negatively affect your whole life.
But you don't win by merit.
You take it you take it in. You realize bodybuilding is a beauty pageant. It's a marketing thing. Weider was using it as a marketing machine for his magazine. And you say, okay, all right, it's like in WWE. I'm not the champion, but it doesn't matter because I'm super popular with the fans. I can make money for myself. I love the bodybuilding industry. I do this because I like it, and I can make money from it.
Right.
And that's better than the rest of the population who has to just be a hobbyist bodybuilder.
It wasn't just Mentzer, though. It was like after the 80 Olympia, Frank Zane, Boyer Coe, Mike Mentzer, a bunch of them, they all boycotted the 81 Olympia.
Yep.
They all said we're not competing.
I remember
it was such a fiasco.
And you know what Joe's response was? Because Chris Aceto loves to tell me this. Remember when Vince McMahon started the WBF? Joe told Chris Aceto, he goes, I'll make new champions. He didn't care. It doesn't matter. You don't want to do the show, don't do the show. Joe, find 10 new guys that will do it. That was the mentality back then, you know?
The funny thing was, though, after the 80 Olympia, Joe was still promoting Mike in the magazine, like big time.
Yeah, because he was popular. That's why. Joe
was actually upset at the 80 Olympia. He was pissed off when he saw the result. He actually walked out.
He probably was doing that just to be, you know.
Yeah, because Arnold was his cash cow.
Yeah, that was Arnold. Was his guy.
Every ad.
He was pissed off at the 81 Olympia as well.
Look,
you don't think he's the one who's going to win that? Come on.
You guys can't look at this in a bubble. Okay, everybody who was competing back then knew about the politics, the screwing, the favoritism, the this, the that, all the malfeasance that everybody alleges. It was not like Mentzer cruised into the 80 Olympia in a virgin environment and all of a sudden this great travesty befell bodybuilding in front of our very eyes. It didn't happen that way. So for him, that ended his career. He never competed again. That was it. Done. Finished.
Stupid.
Okay. Well, so no, because he knew he was never good. They were never going to let him win, no matter what he looked like.
Who cares? He was making money with that.
Right. He was all over the magazine. I think.
Yeah, but would you want to train and compete and knowing that you have no chance of winning, no matter what you look like?
I did it. I knew I wasn't going to get a pro card. I knew they.
Yeah, but Dave, your thing was different. You weren't the best one necessarily on stage.
It doesn't matter though, because who gets the opportunity to make a living from what they love to do? Not many people. Mentzer was doing it. He allowed it to negatively affect his whole life and destroy his life because of that. And that's not life is not like that. And not everyone gets to be number one. Not everyone gets to be the champion.
But nobody gives a shit. Mike O'Hearn will draw more people than Derek Lunsford.
That's right.
You could have a line. Mike O'Hearn will sit at this table, and there'll be a line out the door.
Yeah, but things have changed. This is now we have social media. There's other things. Back then,
I agree with that.
You had only bodybuilding in the magazines.
Mentzer was super popular in the
Right,
magazines.
Larry,
He was a celebrity. He could do seminars in Europe and make probably $10,000.
He could have parlayed his heavy duty system into a train.
And Mike Mentzer's still an icon today. I still get asked about him. His heavy duty system is still out there.
You know who resurrected him?
Who's that?
Really, we got to give credit where credit's due. Bill Phillips resurrected him, right?
Yep.
I mean, he put him in that Muscle Media magazine and made him an icon, really, you know. And then after that, I think, did Bleckman also eventually get him also?
Yeah, Bleckman put him under contract. He was doing his own column. I was working.
He was making money. Mentzer was making money. He made more money at the end of his career than he did, you know, when he was competing, probably.
Because he had it made. He had it made at that point because he came out of obscurity. Okay. And now he was writing regular articles, regular columns. And remember, no internet back then. So it was, you know, people were hanging on each issue of the magazine, waiting to see what, you know, people were going to say next. And he was very, very popular. And there was no reason why he couldn't have parlayed his heavy duty system into a great training system, marketed it all over the world. He would have been.
He did. I had his book. Yeah, I had his book.
He attempted to, but he did not pull it off. He could have been bigger than any of these guys out here doing it, but he just dropped the ball.
Another George.
Pretty much he followed Georgie's business model.
Yeah, but he didn't have
alive, Dave.
Mentzer didn't have the personality.
I'm alive and well and kicking.
Well, you're smarter than he is. I told you.
In fact, I just can't. I surfed for 3 hours this morning.
Listen, I tell everyone who asks me about you because they know I'm friends with you for a long time. I said he's one of the smartest guys I know, but you know, you march to your own drummer, so you know that's when you do that.
I think we're all doing it.
You'll live to 120. I'm convinced of it, and you'll always make money.
I'm on the journey. I'm on a journey to figure out how through me, you know, being older, to pass on other people the things that I'm doing. And trying how I can help other people, because fact of the matter is I didn't really lift heavy weights, and I'm still able to surf like I did when you saw that picture at 19. I surf better today than I did then. I can go and decide I want to train for a fight and actually train for it. That never really officially training. How am I doing that? I'm not some extraordinary guy. I'm just an ordinary guy doing these extraordinary things, and I want to pass it on to other people.
Listen, I want you to make $1 billion because I know you'll share it with everyone.
That's what I'm. Well,
you need a businessman who you're going to go in business.
Much is given, much is required.
Georgie, just make the cookie.
Yeah,
that's all you got to do. Just make the cookie. All right. All this other shit, just make the cookie. Just do that. That's it.
It's going to happen.
No,
Dave, why don't you buy him, man?
I don't want to. I don't want to lose my friendship with him. Umberto, I'm telling you, I'm going to hook you guys up. You market that cookie with him. You tell him you'll run the whole thing. All he's got to do is bake the freaking cookie, and you'll do everything else.
But you got to get him. You got to direct him. You got to get him to just make the cookie. Because if you leave him alone for 5 minutes, you got pretzels, bagels, upside down cake. You know, like what the fuck? Just make the goddamn cookie.
Have to move in with him, Umberto. Unfortunately,
it would be a Kai Green Oscar. What's his name? Relationship.
You need a small.
You guys should get a big fucking warehouse.
Oscar Arden, Kai Green.
Together and just bake cookies all day.
No, you need a small little ghost kitchen like facility where you
ghost
make
kitchen
out of there.
He's already complicating it.
Yeah.
He's already complicating it.
You need someone to tell you what to do, not vice versa. Just make the cookie.
Just make the fucking cookie, dude. That's all you got to do.
Dude, make a Mike Mentzer cookie. Put a little meth in it and shit. People will be like, they'll be like addicted. I need the fucking cookie.
Pre-workout.
Like
you know what? I think you're onto something, George. Maybe Greg. I think what he should do is there should be. Each cookie could be named after a different legendary bodybuilder and for what they're known for. So the Mentzer cookie would be like a cookie that has a little caffeine or something like that. A little stimulant in there.
It would be a pre-workout cookie.
Remember me and my friends?
That's
we
a
named
great
our-
idea. Pre-workout cookie.
Dave, remember me and my friends
Right.
at MD?
Sure.
We fucking named our dicks after pro bodybuilders, and I named mine Marcus because mine's got a big fat purple head. It's veiny and shit.
Yeah, I don't want to know about your purple head. Yeah, I don't really want to
Dave,
know.
I need marketing. I need to have a commercial on every single one of your
No,
shows.
you don't.
I need to have my
You
website.
need to have a business plan so that you can sell the
George,
thing.
you need a
Tag,
cookie.
Dave, hold
You
on.
need a
Tag
cookie.
where it says species, Captain
Yeah.
Protein Cookie. Get 20% off.
Yeah,
That's,
yeah.
I need massive marketing. I need to drive.
I know, but you got to be able to make the cookie first.
You gotta
Drive.
make the cookie. Make the
Right.
cookie. He's got the cart.
Dave, what's his name?
Dave, he's got the cart.
I'm hooking up Umberto and Mr. G after the show.
Hey,
You guys
buddy,
talk.
buddy,
Georgie's
listen.
got the cart so far
Umberto's
ahead of
like
the
that.
others.
Tell him what you would do. Tell him what you would do.
Something like in Peru, they make coca leaves cookies. Yeah.
Yeah.
What coca
They
leaves
do?
provide?
I used
Yeah,
them.
exactly. They use them and it gives you energy.
Yep.
Wow.
I brought some home.
It's legal. It's legal. And
It's
it tastes
legal?
kind of like you don't
Right.
tastes like that, but you don't get that jittery. But it gives you
I
energy.
used it in Peru to battle the altitude
Altitude.
sickness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Man, that
I forgot you went to Peru, John. That's right.
Machu
Yeah.
Picchu. Yep.
Of course.
Machu Picchu.
You had a time of life. I
Umberto
know.
could have hooked you up down there.
Yeah, I got hooked up. My
Right?
friend is from
Yeah,
there.
it's fine.
He would have hooked you up with some malaria.
No,
No,
I
I
found
meant the
this
horse,
place that made the
malaria.
coca tea. You
Yeah.
could drink it like tea. Holy
Yeah, you should be-
shit!
yeah.
That was slow.
Is the
guzzling
natural
that
is the
shit.
natural route? You think it's better for you than like the synthetic versions that they make? I mean, or do you think it's still not good for you to have all that stimulant?
I don't think I didn't feel overstimulated on the leaves at all.
No?
No, just kind of like a nice, smooth,
It's
lift.
It's good for you. Has a lot of like amino acids. It's amazing.
Don't they chew those? Isn't there a culture that chews those
Yeah.
leaves?
Yeah,
too?
absolutely.
that.
They all chewed it.
Yeah, you chew it.
And beetle nut too. They chewed beetle nut and made tea
You
out of
do that in
that.
school. Chew the coca leaves and run.
Yep.
If I ever lived down there and chewed those leaves, I'd have 25 books written already. I'd never sleep. I'm too scared to do any kind of stimulants because I think I'll just
you
never
will
stop
fall,
working.
You don't
Probably.
take any
Or you'll
caffeine
make
or
more
drink coffee?
businesses.
Greg, if I sip a Diet Coke, I feel like I did a line of Coke because I don't do
Oh,
any
wow.
caffeine normally.
Ooh.
So
Well, I made that for you, by the way, Dave. That coffee
What?
thing, the coffee cookie. It's in the freezer.
oh, you did?
Yeah, it's in the freezer with the lion's mane. I added the lion's mane to it. You told me to put the lion's
Yeah,
mane.
I said I wanted him to make a cookie for cognition. So it would have like mushroom extracts in there with
I put the
coffee.
lion's mane.
I
I've been
think
taking
it'll be a
lion.
hit.
It,
I got great ideas for him, but we need someone to run his business for him, John. We got to find. I'm telling you,
Hey,
I
Dave, you should like mentor him, man. You already have successful.
Yeah,
people.
I know, but you know what? I don't have time. Umberto, I'm telling you, you guys would be a
I know
great
you
team.
don't
together,
have
but
time.
you guys would
Here's
argue all the time.
Here's your biggest challenge.
Yeah.
Your biggest challenge with Georgie is going to be to direct him.
Yeah.
Get him to do the same thing every day. Make the cookie. If you can get him to make the cookie,
Yeah.
then you got the goose that laid the golden egg. But you got to get him to make the cookie. So
Right.
far
Listen.
now, for like 10 years, we've been trying to get him to make the cookie, and he just won't do it.
Like the
Come on,
Dunkin'
I don't have
Donut
enough
guy.
people going to my site. Don't you understand what I'm telling you?
No.
I don't have enough people coming to my website.
Yeah.
So it's
Guess
not-
why? Why is that?
No, but nobody
Because I
knows.
need marketing. I need more people to come to the site. That's why.
But you
Yeah,
have
Because you got you.
on 50 people going to your site.
bro, you have Dave giving you this platform. I mean, dude, you are the luckiest man alive. You have the marketing here. I don't know what you're complaining about.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like you have Dave. Everybody knows you make cookies, man. You should be giving away cookies right now.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what you should be doing.
Are you bringing cookies to the show in June in
Yes.
Alabama?
Yes.
You
Okay,
need
well,
to give
that-
away your
that-
cookie, man, because nobody knows about your cookie. Like, I don't
That
know
should be
about
a
your cookie.
debut.
Yeah, give it away right now in after hours. Give it away. People are gonna get hooked. They're gonna
You
start
should bring
ordering.
like 500 cookies with you, and you should sell them there. Give away, break up pieces, and give away samples so people could try it.
Yeah,
As
bring
soon
a
as
hot
people
girl
try it,
next
they're
to
gonna
you.
buy the cookie from you. There's no
Bring
doubt.
a hot girl, a blonde with big boobs next to you.
That's
Next
right.
time, We'll see how you sell.
There you go. You know anyone?
Get a nice camera, man. You look like
you could put a cookie in her cleavage.
In Alabama, all you need is your shotgun, man.
The problem, Alberto, is he'll bring like the most dysfunctional street people you've ever seen. He'll bring with him to work the booth with him, because he was trying to do goodwill for people. But you're right. He needs a fucking girl with big boobs standing there.
Yeah,
with the cookie in her cleavage.
Doesn't have to be that extreme, John.
I think it should. I think I think you ought to have a cookie eating contest out of her cleavage. Is that now that would sell cookies?
I think we should bring Umberto to Alabama and put the two of them in a booth together. That would be worth the video footage that we would get along with. I got news for you.
No, George likes to go around with
want to come to Alabama, Umberto?
I'll bring the raw materials from Peru, and we'll be rich, man.
You can bring your wife. She can work the booth for George.
Oh, fuck yeah, you'll be lucky, man.
You want to come?
I don't mind.
All right, I gotta hook it up. You look at your schedule, George. If I get you a booth there, can you cook enough cookies to bring it with you so that I can have you guys work a booth together?
How many do you want me to bring?
Well, you talk to Umberto. You guys figure out how many you think you need.
No, my wife is a model, man. My wife is a model, so she'll promote the whole shebang.
Awesome.
So you guys set up. You can give you'll give some cookies out as samples so people can taste them, and then you sell them like a 6-pack.
No. Here's what you do. Here's what you do, George. You make a whole bunch of miniature cookies.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah,
that's the sample. All right.
Yeah,
so you're not cutting cookies up with a fucking scraper. Right? That's like the fitness girls do at the shows at the booth.
Yeah.
All right. So you mini cookie is the sample, and then you take orders for
no orders, John. He's got to bring product. People want the product right there.
They get it shipped to them the next day.
You'll overwhelm him. He'll never send the orders out. You bring the cookies. Bring 300, 400 cookies with you.
A database there. Name, email, Instagram.
Or ship them. Yeah, ship them ahead of time.
That's what I'm saying.
The venue. You got to do it.
What you want is collect a database of people.
He won't do it. He will not do it.
Listen, we're going to do a seminar the night before, and then you got the whole show. You can have a booth for 2 days. You could be selling cookies.
I got like 60 frozen cookies right now, ready to bake. Right in my freezer that I make. I make stuff every day.
I know, but you're going to have to, for that event, you're going to have to bring a lot of product. I think you're going to sell a ton of it because I'm going to be promoting it. I'll be promoting it nonstop.
The biggest volume that we had in 1 month was like 10 grand.
But Dave, every time you have a seminar, can you bring him and he brings his cookies and it's like
There's only one promoter out there, Michelle, God bless her, that will bring these guys in at the same time. You have to keep them separated.
Okay.
It's like there's certain reptiles that you can't cohabitate with them. They don't do well. You only put them together.
Hey, we're chameleons. We're chameleons. We can change colors. So that's the kind of reptiles we are.
Yeah. You can only put them together for like 1 day out of the whole year. That's it. If you do that,
you get John Scuderi to come with some of the reptiles.
There you go. I have more reptiles than he does. I got news for you.
See if John Scuderi's frog could eat one of Jordan's cookies.
Though, didn't he?
He definitely. Yeah, John and I are like we talk shop all the time. We're both talking about big fish tanks now too. So
he's the guy that brought the frog on the show that day.
He was the first guy who brought all those exotic animals.
That thing was bigger than my fist. It was like 2 fists.
Remember, he was getting frustrated that it wouldn't eat the rat, and he was whacking the rat into the door jam and trying to knock it out. His head busted open, and there were brains all over the place.
Oh my God, the crazy shit we did. Well, thank you, Umberto. You should come back next Tuesday too, because I think you're a good addition to this cast, to be honest with you. And by the way, I just want to send my get well soon. Armand is battling a strep throat, and Amin is in court today, so he's got some new developments on his case that he will share with us next time. So we miss those guys, but they'll be back next week. For those of you who are wondering, for those of you who don't care, don't listen. Once again, not this coming week, the following week, I'll be in Pittsburgh for the Pittsburgh Pro Jim Mannion show, where they're giving $100,000 away to first prize in the men's open.
Wow.
First time they're ever going to have an expo in men's open in Pittsburgh, so that's going to be super exciting. And I will then be at the end of the month. I'll be at Dean Caputo show. Greg,
that's
know
my
Dean.
boy, Dean Caputo.
Yeah, I'll be his show at the 23rd of May, and then June 21st will be in Alabama.
Yes.
Dean is a great guy, bro.
He's home, Alabama.
Dave, I'm
Dean
going to
was
Pittsburgh
jacked
as well.
back in the day. Dean should have been.
Oh, you're going to Pittsburgh, Larry? Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
I got my plane tickets and hotel.
That's
Awesome.
a great venue, Pittsburgh.
I think it's a new venue they're doing for the show. I know that the expo at least is, so it's going to be
black and yellow.
Well, right on that street, right in that's with all those stores and all those restaurants, right?
That's where they hold the North American and the Masters Nationals. For the Pittsburgh Pro Show, they hold it in a different place. But
when's Dean's show?
Dean's show is May 23rd weekend, and that's in Streetsboro, Ohio. I'll be there. I haven't been back there. I haven't been there since I think 2001. I did a guest post.
That's my guy, Dean.
Love Dean.
Dean's a great guy. I know him
I'll be there
forever.
with Gary. Richie and I are doing a seminar there. So
Ask him about. I hooked him up with a girl. Ask him about all that shit.
Oh, really? What girl?
I don't want to tell you here, but
right.
Somebody very close to me. But he'll tell you all about it. Trust me.
All right.
Dave, give away some cookies, man, when you're doing the
because
seminar.
it's a female bodybuilder. That's why I don't want to say who it is.
Well, if you want to go, Umberto, I'll talk to our promoter friend Michelle, and I can try to make it happen. If you and Mr. G really want to work a booth together and do some stuff,
I don't know if Mr. G wants to be in a booth. He's a people guy. He likes to be all over the place.
Well, I'm trying to help him make some money here and launch his business. So
but I think that's your idea. It's not his. I can see it.
All right.
Look at him right now.
You know what? I don't need any more aggravation.
No,
here's how it's got to work with Georgie. He's got to think it's his idea.
That's what I'm saying.
If he thinks it's his idea, he'll do it. He won't listen to anybody else, though. So what you got to do is
doing exactly what I wanted.
You have to subliminally convince him that it's his idea.
I played you guys like a drum, like a little violin. Yeah. Other than the average bear. Boom, boom.
I think maybe we should bring his brother, John. Have the two of them in a booth.
My brother was, yeah.
Oh my God.
Forget about it.
Maybe your brother could do maybe your brother could do the T-shirts for the show.
You want him to do the T-shirts for the show?
Get me and Bobby together.
I got to talk to Michelle and see if she's doing T-shirts.
What they should do is have Georgie and Bobby MC the show.
Are you kidding me?
That would be amazing. Are you kidding?
Dude, this ain't Ohio.
The show would
none of the names would be pronounced correctly. The music would get fucked up. It would be like the biggest smash bang you ever saw. It would be hysterical.
Tell Michelle to get one of those order one of those boxing things. The thing you hit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? That boxing speed thing.
He means the thing that that game thing where you punch it and it shows you how much pressure.
No.
That would be great.
You need the gong.
He's already lost the focus on the cookies. Now he's got a punching bag at the booth.
I wrote that off ages ago. There's no anybody thinks you got cookies, you got nothing coming. There's no cookies. There's never going to be cookies.
He'll show up. He'll have all these gimmicks and no cookies. Could
you imagine Georgie and Bobby?
He sent the cookies the day before and they didn't make it.
There's no cookies. Forget the cookies. There's no cookies. There's no cookies coming. Especially if you bring Bobby, then there's definitely no cookies. You'll eat them all on the way. So you got to get a gong. All right, the gong is going to go behind the podium.
You're complicating it again. They're going to do a gong. Remember they did the gong show?
The gong show. So you're going to have the competitors come out, and Bobby and George, you're going to have the mallets, the big fucking stick with the thing on the end, and they're going to hit the gong when somebody's like not doing it.
George, you got to dress like Hulk Hogan again.
Hold on, wait a minute, George. Didn't you guys find a gong you wanted me to buy? It was like $1,000 or something.
We did buy it. We did buy it. It was $400.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it. They bought it themselves, John. I wouldn't do it.
$400.
No, Blackman bought it.
Oh, you didn't get Blackman to pay for it?
Steve, we put it on the bill.
And where is it now?
It was expensive. I remember that. I was like, you're not getting that gong. They said, you're not spending $400 on a gong.
Elise is looking at the bill saying,
no one even knows what a gong is on the listening to the show.
Remember how loud that freaking thing was? That thing was so loud. When you just it was like Unbelievable.
I don't even think they make gongs anymore. Does anyone know what a gong is?
$600 worth of costumes. All those costumes, they got all that. Blackman still has all that
Chuck
stuff.
Ferris, the Gong Show guy.
Yes, Chuck Ferris.
Chuck Ferris.
Remember they were saying he was a secret agent and all that shit, John? Do you remember he was a CIA secret?
And man, he had Adrienne Barbeau on there with him.
Oh, God, remember her?
Yeah.
Remember her? Yeah.
She was like a 70s
dance machine. Remember him?
She was a 70s 12.
Yeah, man, I remember her.
Oh, she was fucking awesome. Yeah.
Adrienne Barbeau. She's an old lady now. You know what's funny though? See, we're older, so we remember that shit. But a lot
Barbie
of guys
Benton too.
That
Adrienne
was
Barbeau and
dude,
Barbie
Benton was my girl. I wrote her in my senior prom.
That's the gong right there.
$396 for this gong. Yeah,
That's what we had. That's
and the mallets.
That's exactly what we had.
I know it was. I know.
Where is that Blackman? The Blackman has that. That thing was great. That thing was so loud.
It was handmade. This thing.
Yeah, hand hammered.
Wow.
I bet you John can make one of these. I can guarantee, John, you can make one of these.
Oh yeah, I would believe that.
Right? We had the first bikini.
Maybe you should make him a gong, John.
I can figure
You're
it
always
out.
looking for new projects, John.
It'd be way cheaper just to buy that one.
No, you got a couple months to do it. Come on, make him a gong. All right. I'll tell Michelle. George will be on the stage the whole show. If he doesn't like a competitor, he'll gong him and you get him off the stage.
Yeah, that would go over great next year with the next year's competitor.
Can you imagine at the Olympia if they had a gong and like the judges could like if they didn't like the way someone looked, they could just gong you and
then
you
hit the
you're
gong.
done?
Exactly. That was my whole point. Gong them off the stage.
It'd be great.
Contest for the people who come there, for the fans.
The judges should have the ability to gong you off the stage if they don't think you showed up in good enough shape. You should be like, that's it.
Yeah, but then half the people wouldn't even compete ever again. You lose all your competitors because they all need to get gone.
You know what, Greg? The audience would grow exponentially.
Oh my God, it would be so.
If they knew that the judges were going to gong somebody in the middle of a fucking routine, are you kidding me? You'd pack the house to the rafters if that was going to happen.
No, the audience is all the guys who gong. That's their family. Who goes to these shows? It's the fucking families.
That would add another dimension. Call them athletes, Rep Bob. Check. Let's see if we can get a gong institute.
We got to get the gong.
I don't even imagine they say it's their own idea. I don't
Imagine Weinberger standing up with a fucking mallet whacking the gong. You know,
he would love that. He would love that.
Oh, I know.
Hold on. What did Lee say? Mike Mentzer pulled me aside one day and told me that Arthur Jones was God. That song, How Great Thou Art, was about Arthur. He told me while he was chain smoking in front of Golds. That's
great. Man, if anybody had video cameras back then.
All right, I got to go. The show has gone too long, but I actually enjoyed myself very much. Thank you, Umberto, for stopping by. Thank you for joining us live. We'll be back again next week with another installment of After Hours with the Whack Pack. See you later.
Bye, guys.